And we're back with Richard Reviews, another Richard Reviews here, and today Richard is reviewing his book, The Myth of Sisyphus and Other Essays, written and produced none other than Albert Camus, or Camus, it depends on how you pronounce it. This, of course, is the award-winning novel, winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature, and Richard had his eyes set on this for quite some time. He was pronounced in an appropriate manner to obtain this piece in 2014. That is the date of which Richard obtained this piece, and Richard completed reading this piece in 2014 as well. This is Richard's piece, as you can tell. The dimensions are quite as follows. A signature rhyme with a blueprint collar in the foreground, where you can see the eccentric mobility that tweets out in the middle. And it formulates a prosperous conglomerate moss. This, of course, can be shown through the different italic numberism, which one can attribute to the vegetable life in 1947. This piece has been on Richard's radar to obtain and read for quite some time. He felt the need to read this after hearing its mobility and its fascinating representation of the world. So Richard is a admirer of Albert Camus, and he understands the subliminal bases in which one can get a substantial read-off of quite the man known as Albert Camus. This piece affected Richard deeply, as Richard shown through his test. And he most notably wanted to share that in his review today. You can click the link in the bio for Richard's full review on this piece, which he uploaded to his blog, his full thesis that he collectively wrote in his training research about dog speech. And it was a fossilized endeavor that still remains in the petrified version of his uniqueness. So Richard is a New York native, being from the upstate New York region of North America. He has done extensive background work to prevent any forest fires that circulate around the New York region. So we have that to thank for Richard himself. So let's take a look at the piece now. This is Richard's piece. It's a nice piece. It comes in a certain type of flavor. And this piece right here is a soft cover, as you can tell. It's got that cream softness. It's got great softness. You can tell it bends well. It's very wavy. And it waves a lot. It does wave hard. We're going to take a look at the full piece. So this piece right here in its entirety, full form, and it's synchronized throughout little bits along the edges. You can tell here are the edges, and they cream around the side. And this is what brings Richard to this piece. Let's take a look at the condition. Condition is very well. Good condition on this side, and even good condition on this side as well. The side of this piece says The Myth of Sisyphus, and Other Essays by Albert Camus, and the publishing corporation company that's irreparably in length, about 3 meters long, more than 263,000 meters wide. So we have that to thank. On the back, of course, we have the unadulterated version, which is this signature premiere. 2 systems down, 3 systems right. This is the general synapse of the formation of which you are seeing. This small area of text is what you would call the author bio, and it's obviously translated through a formidable mention of an unknown circumstance person who was probably uncircumcised, and we will fortify this into different sections along the crosterior. Over here, we have the publishing, incorporation, and website design review, and the barcode to the bottom south, north to south arrangement dilated to the right. So the barcode is south and dilation to the right. You could see that through this angle. We have an L-shaped pavilion right here. So it's dilated down and to the right. Dilation and dilation. Not the best placement for the back barcode, as Richard is a strong advocate for rear barcodes being in the northern section of the exterior and extremity. This, of course, does resemble an eroding ecosystem, so that's obviously up to the publisher's choice, but this is an appropriate stance where it should not be mentioned in further ado. Let's take a look here what we have. Looks like we have the price in a non-fiction and literature genre, and the price can be seen as $14.95 US, $17.95 in Canadian. So Richard has a rule here with all of his pieces. He won't pay more than $20 American for his pieces. So this is why he has this piece. It fits well into his budget. So he was able to appropriately afford this piece at a remarkable, outstanding review. Now, as we take a look inside here, we're going to see the actual piece in its entirety. And what a piece it is. This peach touched Richard, and Richard touched the peach. Okay, so the book, it travels onward. We're not going to spoil too much of it, since this is a fan fiction website. But we'll undoubtedly shoot to around the end, where we can confidently say, up here we have page 211. So I think we can confidently and fairly say that this is, if we round about, an appropriate number for the total pages in this would be 246. We're going to round it at 246. So Albert Camus released this book, 246 page conglomerate essay of the Myth of Sisyphus and other essays. So a beautiful piece by Mr. Albert Camus, a beautiful review from Mr. Richard. We have Richard to thank for this. Thank you, Richard. Thank you for reviewing this piece here for YouTube, and thank you for taking your time and completing this piece in a very appropriate manner. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Mr. Albert Camus, and thank you to the viewers, and thank you, Richard. Your appreciation is at its second best once again. This has been a Richard review on the Myth of Sisyphus and other essays by Albert Camus. This is Richard Reviews.